Jaimen, hello.
Garrett, hey.
Nice to see you again.
So here we are, episode 10.
Yeah, it only took like 2.5 months to get this far, but whatever.
That's not bad at all. Had
No.
a couple good guests, some solid conversations.
Yeah,
And
it's been cool. It's been good. We did it. We're doing it, right? Slowly but surely, whatever.
definitely.
Episode 10. Yeah, and so we just gotta get to episode 100 and then we'll be sponsored and paid.
But you had a
They-
plan leading up to this episode. So you had a whole setup for once we reach episode 10, you had the topic all lined up. So I will let you elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah, so on episode 10, because I thought 10 was a cool number to get to, right? Like little goals, right? So I would say maybe the next goal would be like fucking maybe episode 50 or something. But for 10, yeah, I thought it would be kind of a cool opportunity to share my full story of why I'm in recovery and sort of where I'm at. Like, well, we just did a where I'm at, but just what my story of recovery is and where it started.
Right.
So, right. So I thought that was kind of cool because I'm sure there's people on here that don't like, who knows if this comes up in algorithms or people don't know who we are or who I am or whatever. A lot of our friends listen to this, but
Yeah, and I was thinking, like, because I moved out here, I was trying to remember what year, and I'm pretty sure 2003 would have been when
oh,
I moved from Ontario to BC, and when I, met you shortly after. So that's 20, 21 years now.
holy fuck. Are you serious?
Right. Yeah, yeah, it's been that long. So,
I've known you for 21 years. So that means I've known a lot of my friends for almost plus 125 plus then too. Like,
yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ. We're still young, man. We're only 40 plus.
Yeah,
You're
oh
how
yeah.
old? 41, right?
Yeah, yeah. 41, you're 42. So yeah.
Look,
But
you still look
no,
young,
it just
man.
made me think, like so yeah, that's quite an extent, like of like the journey that I've known you off and on, but even that, like your story goes, earlier than that, of course. But
Yeah, I was born and stuff. I was born.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, just interesting as I was thinking about this
Yeah,
before
that's
we
crazy. And those,
yeah.
what's that?
Well, just as I was thinking about it before we set this up and started recording, I was like, wow, yeah, shit, over 20 years.
Yeah, and like I remember back then I had an apartment in Maple Ridge and I was a weed dealer.
Yeah, yeah. That's
My
how we
fucking
met.
house
Yeah.
was
I
I
was
remember like that's what I did. I think I
I
could
was new
barely
to
hold a
town.
job, but I did that. What was that, sorry?
I was new to town. I needed some weed. Yeah. Got
Yeah,
hooked up
you and my,
through a
your
couple
girlfriend.
townies to you. Basically, yeah, went over to your place. The posters, the setup was like very similar to a setup I would have had at the time. And
Yeah,
like,
lots of cool posters, bands, music, people. It was fun, man. Because he'd fucking people would sit there all day. We'd have a house full of people smoking and drinking and hanging out, and I would just answer the fucking door and answer my cell phone.
yeah.
Those were good days. Yeah, but then of course that led to oh fuck, remember what? Remember? Can we say their name? Fuck it. No, no, no. Remember the long hair guy with Les or
Yeah.
Wes?
Less. Yeah, yeah.
He introduced me. That's where it all started, man. He
Yeah.
introduced me to cocaine.
And I
I was
remember
probably
him. Yeah, I did not like him. I got a bad vibe from his character. Yeah.
yeah. So for a while there, he would trade me like $30 worth of weed for $30 worth of cocaine. Are
Right.
we allowed to say this? Fuck, I'm sure we're fine. Whatever. Um, and in my heart, I knew I was like, this isn't a good idea, but whatever. Ooh, I feel good when I do this stuff. That's fucking right. So that's where it started
Okay,
with
so
that.
then wow, that is kind of, yeah, the beginning of that.
So
All
I
right.
must have been
Yeah.
like 21 or 20 in my early 20s,
Yeah, early 20s.
listening to Jane's Addiction and the Doors and early, like, that was when I was getting into Metallica, Ride the Lightning and fucking Kill 'Em All and hippies. Like, we were just starting to listen to Guar and the Doors and Hendrix. So because I was a hippie kid before that for years uptown Maple Ridge, list not just dropping acid, eating mushrooms, and smoking weed, drink, normal stuff, normal
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
adolescent substance use. But then, yeah, that's when, and then right around that time, when we met Mr. West, Les, or whatever his name is, started using coke, and then started using meth and crack. And then, yeah, like from there, I tapered off into kind of a pretty decent chemical addiction because I remember we moved out of that complex and then we moved to that big brown house, which was a wicked fun party house for many, many years. A lot of drinking, a lot of drug use.
Yeah.
But even from that house, I remember that's when it started getting bad. I was starting to hide in my room, doing crack, smoking crack, doing meth, trading one drug for the other to get off the other one. And then that's where all the lights kind of dimmed for me because like everyone sort of grew up, moved on, and I just ended up just kind of jumping from job to job. And it was recently in 2015, right, where years and years later, I would say almost a decade, where I kind of woke up and was like, holy fuck, like where did everybody go? Everyone, And we talked about that recently, trying to sort of relive my youth, but it's gone. That's okay, right? It's time to grow up a little, and there's a lot of awesome opportunities and a lot of life to be lived. But recently, I've woken up from that alcoholic decade and just kind of went, "Whoa!" Like I've been struggling with an addiction for many, many years, and you kind of live like this, right? You're losing jobs, you're losing girlfriends, you're losing licenses, so it's survival mode. And you kind of and then when you kind of get some clarity and these blinders come down, you're kind of like, holy fuck, you're getting help and stuff. You sort of realize, whoa, time has passed, man. And thankfully, I'm not 50 or 60 years old with those blinders coming down. And if you are someone like that, then it's better late than never, honestly. And there's time to recover, you know. But I'm grateful that it's happening now. It's happened now. So yeah, so why did I use alcohol and drugs? Well, because I'm a product of childhood developmental trauma. And when you live in a situation like that, in an environment like that, that's emotionally abusive, um, you're also going to develop ADHD, which I recently just discovered that I had. I knew I had it all along, but I never really took it seriously. I always thought it was the Robin Williams disease, and it's good, right? I'm an artist. I'm crazy. It's all good. But no, I started to realize like my executive function and the seriousness of ADHD and how it actually does interfere with a lot of things, daily tasks that other people find simple for me, much more challenging. Decided to use medication. It's sort of helping. Then that, of course, mixed in with uh, trauma. There's a lot of things going on. So I was born in 1982 in New Westminster, British Columbia. And from what I remember a little bit, like I had a decent childhood. Like I know my mom did good. So my mom might be listening to this. I've thrown her under the bus a few times. Love you, mom. We've done a lot of healing. She still drives me nuts because she hasn't done a lot of, she's working through her stuff. But which reminds me of a Marcus Aurelius quote, which is be tolerant with others and hard on yourself, essentially. Like let them do their thing. So mom and I, it's been a pretty arduous journey, right? So when I was young, I know my mom took me out and did a lot of things with me. I know she really loved me, but I think as I got older, closer to the age of like 8 or 9, I was becoming quite hyperactive. Of course, I didn't have a dad in the home. My biological father, I haven't seen him in years. So right there, in my opinion, okay, we do need that family structure, a dad and a mom, and that's when you don't have the mom statistic or dad, or it's a single parent, statistically things kind of get a little turbulent, right? Depending, of course. But for me in particular, obviously not having the father figure around wasn't beneficial. Now, I had a stepdad come in later, around 7. I think I was 2 or 3 years old. Stepdad came in. He's with me now to this day. Bobby, shout out to him. He's the one who introduced me to metal, and he kind of took over. I'm very blessed. He was like 22 years old, and he took over. And he didn't really have the best relationship with my mom. I think they dated, but over the years, it didn't work out because and I'm getting to that now. At about the age 6 or 7, I was put in foster care. So I was developing. My mom just couldn't handle me apparently. So my mom puts me in foster care. She has her own set of issues, but unfortunately, the consequences are that my nervous system, my subconscious, and that little 7-year-old boy is now being told that he's worthless.
Yeah, and you're still
And that's a
developing. You're still growing, and
developing. So what I've been
yeah,
told is that I'm not valuable. And I'm right now, I'm already just talking about it makes me just fucking like, and I'm actually talking to a childhood trauma therapist right now. And he talks like, it's hard, man. So of course, and then comes, and my mom, you can't really blame your mom because, well, you can and you can't. At a certain age, man, you have to fucking take responsibility for yourself. It's not your fault you have trauma. It's not your fault you have ADHD. It's not your fault that you're put in foster care, but it is your responsibility to fix these things now. Now that we're grown ass fucking people. I'm sorry, but I know you got to take ownership and stuff of that. My mom, same thing. I'm able to forgive her for the most part because I understand she's a product of her own childhood trauma. My grandfather fought in the war. A lot of alcoholism there. I know he was a raging fucking drunk. I don't think he was physically abusive, but and again, I got in trouble from my family for talking about this on a world class podcast, but I don't fucking care. This is my fucking story, okay? And I'm gonna fucking say it. So that's what it is. If my family abandons me, well, sorry. But anyway, they had a childhood. My grandfather was an alcoholic. He fought in the war. It was a PTSD, right? So I don't think it was physically. I don't know what happened, but all I know is that my mom had some issues of her own, right?
right.
And she's doing her best. And so I inherited ADHD, trauma, some lineage of biological dysfunction. It's just a scientific fuck, whether you like it or not, right? It's a fact. So anyway, put in foster home at 7 or 8, serious abandonment issues, of course, and then just put in so many different foster homes for behavioral issues. Like I was put in, I'm going to actually look into it because I want to write a book one day. How many foster homes I was actually in, but it was a lot of group homes, a lot of foster homes. Those come with their own issues. I remember one foster home locked me in the room for days on end. The grandma lady, I can't remember, but yeah, and Bobby, my dad now would, take me out for visits and this and that. There's a lot of private information that I won't get into, but my mom made that hard on him, and for her, a lot of fucking brutality, a lot of shit we don't need to talk about here and now. But yeah, I mean, I was in and out of foster care for a long time. It wasn't until I moved to Maple Ridge at the age of 18 years old where I guess the system got sick and tired of my mom taking me back, kicking me out, taking me back, kicking me out, taking me back, kicking me out as a little kid, right? What kind of message is that to some kid? 13,
Right.
14, 12, 9, 8. Horrible, man. There's a fucking goddamn blessing that I'm not on the downtown east side fucking just done, right? I'm very lucky. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you right now, metal fucking music contributed to my salvation. That is a fucking fact. The community of metal, right? And as we know, a lot of artists in all genres have these issues. And my dad was a big part of that. And his mom, my grandma, trying to instill discipline at a young age and put out a lot of fires that I would say my mom kind of helped to start. Maybe not purposely, but a lot of things going on there. So a lot of foster homes, a lot of like, the best thing I can equate it to when you're a little child, it's like a little plant. You let a plant kind of grow its roots, and then you pull it out and put it somewhere else. Now it's starting to get its roots again. You pull it out, you put it somewhere else. The plant may survive, but it's gonna be weird.
Yeah, that transplant shock. Yeah.
It might be strange. It's gonna be transplant, but eventually with nurturing, the plant can grow.
Mhm.
And so, of course, I was in foster care. So at some point, my mom lost her rights. The government just said, "Fuck, you're done." So became a ward of the court, put in a foster home in Maple Ridge on 256 with Ken and Cindy. Shout out to them. They were great foster parents. That's where I went to school, was in Maple Ridge, and that's where I met all the seed was planted, to which eventually we met.
Right.
My hippie long-haired friends, hippies and rockers uptown playing, and I went to school there. And um Yeah, I mean we smoked dope I mean at that time I had no idea, but I mean I always felt different, like I never fucking paid attention to class very well. Never fucking, I made friends, or I always felt weird. I always felt different, and I never understood why. And just all, teachers made it hard. And if I was in special schools for anger stuff, because I would tell my teachers to fuck off, even at like four, like 9 or 10, like in a specialized elementary school that was segregated from the rest of the schools. And they actually had a room that was carpeted from the walls, the roof, everything. It was a carpeted room where we would go for timeouts, for hitting your teachers and freaking out. And they would put you in arm locks and shit, and you'd be sent off. So, you know what I mean? I think they were doing their best too, but a special schooling, special education all my life, and the whole time there wasn't really YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or any of this
Right.
stuff to
Yeah.
kind of reaffirm like, hey, bro, you're not the only one, right? So
Yeah, there were no
I grew up
resources back then. Like,
Yeah, I grew up in
yeah,
the 80s, bro. The tail
yeah,
end of the 80s and all of the 90s.
yeah,
And yeah, a really cool fucking era. I mean, we had like the best, what I would say, like some of the best movies, wrestling. Fuck, it was a cool time to grow up. And I know my mom spoiled us. I say us. I have a sister out there somewhere. We're not going to talk about that. She left 10 years ago, never looked back, completely disowned the family. You know what? I understand why, and I just let it be, and I get it, and that's fine. And I wish that this individual the best. So, um, and yeah, so special schools, all this different stuff, in and out of foster homes, and then yeah, I mean, there's a lot more in there, and I'm hoping through like trauma therapy and like researching for my book or whatever, or just I can learn some more about my childhood. And the more that I kind of work through that stuff now, it's weird, man. I'll just be all of a sudden I'll be driving my motorcycle or somewhere, and just an old memory pops up. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Like weird
right,
scenarios I remember, just mean things that people said to me or scenarios that happened. But a lot of my childhood I can't really remember,
right.
like just little fragments.
Suppressed aspects of it and whatnot. But yeah, and
Yeah,
so I
just
guess I met you sort of after you had gained some comfort in Maple Ridge and started to build a little bit of a community, friend circle, maybe even a bit of your own chosen family, right? So
we had one. We
yeah,
were the original street people of Maple Ridge. Like we
yeah,
were all hippie kids. There's like 20 plus kids. We were all super tight, like a little cult,
yeah,
right? Listening to fucking Jimi Hendrix and the Doors and Zeppelin, and they were listening to the Cure and Nine Inch Nails, and fucking it was like we do smoke weed, smoke cigarettes, drinking, acid, camping trips. Like we had a cult of friends. That's who you ended up meeting, and I ended up
yeah.
moving in with a couple of them, and we lived in that little house. And yeah, I was raised by wolves, man, for a lot of it. We that's right. I stayed away from my family was my let me I wanted to say that like my family is really good. Like my stepdad and his mom, awesome.
Yeah.
My mom's doing better now. I live with my mom now because, well, I moved out of her. I moved out. I broke up. I had a breakup 5 years ago or so and moved back temporarily. Of course, the housing prices in British Columbia, Vancouver are fucking astronomical. I'm just not about to go out there and rent a place on my own and pay half my fucking rent to whatever fucking corrupt bullshit. And then I can't do anything. So that's another podcast on its own, but we do okay. It's just cheap. I help her a lot too. Like she doesn't have a great she has a job that she's not super stoked on, but the superstore doesn't pay a lot. So if I was to leave now too, she would struggle as well. So
Right.
I'm trying to think about blah 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 blah. Okay, but I lost my train there. What was that? Why did I bring that up?
Oh, you just wanted to clarify that, you'd said a lot of stuff, but it's actually nothing against your mom and your stepdad.
Oh, my
Yeah.
family. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yeah, so my mom and her sisters and my cousins, like really great people. They're all doing really good.
Yeah. It's just part
We
of the
go for
story. I
Christmases.
mean, like, yeah. And
Yeah, we have
no, it's
Christmas
good. I
dinner.
know that like with you and your mom, like, yeah, you've definitely worked on like repairing a lot of stuff. I mean, like I've known her off and on for many years as well. And we've watched hockey games, past season and
Yeah,
well,
she's
yeah.
fun as fuck.
Oh yeah, yeah,
My mom has a heart of gold.
yeah.
She really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows my mom. You go to the superstore, everyone checks in on me through her. How's he doing? No, 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 no.
Yeah,
Fuck,
yeah,
right? So I'm a well-known person in Maple Ridge. Like it,
yeah.
whatever.
But it's good. It shows growth, and even like between like your relationship between each other. So yeah,
Yeah, and it's not always perfect. And ideally, like the idea, it's not to, like the thing is, I'm not a 42-year-old man living here in the basement, fucking watching porn, sniffing my own farts. Like, hey, Ma, where are the pizza pops? Like, it's not like that. Like, I fucking, like I'm building a podcast, I build a brand, I fucking repaired my credit, I've gotten sober, I've changed careers. Like, I've been able to do a lot of risky maneuvers with low consequence living here. And in my fucking opinion, I feel like I'm owed that opportunity because like I feel well, yeah, I do. I feel like I'm somewhat owed that opportunity because if my childhood had been a lot better, I might have grown up with the same kind of weird shit, but just not to such a detriment.
mhm,
Like a lot of, and I know there's people out there that have beautiful lives and they still end up fucked up. Like shout out to my bro Chris Hebert. I went to his family dinner the other day, his birthday, and his family looked like fuck, really huge party, a lot of friends, a lot of family, very wholesome parents, beautiful home, beautiful. I was just like, wow, nice group of friends. He still ended up fucking having addicted, running. Not that I don't want to. It's not my place, but
mhm.
to get into that. But my point is, he was a very close example of like, wow, what a beautiful community home environment, and still he grew up with his own issues, right? That he's
Right.
overcome 10 years of sobriety. So I guess there's a spectrum there, but I do feel like I didn't get the best opportunities, when I was young. I mean, and so now I'm at home cleaning up the fucking mess. I'm able to live here, and I do want to move out. I'd love to, eventually I'd like to have a wife and like have a real life outside of, like, but a place here. But it's a good. I'm grateful that I have a nice cheap home. But anyway, maybe there's something there I need to work on. But essentially, man, I fucking, you know what I mean? Like I luckily grew out of the methamphetamine. So I remember on the Brown Avenue when I lived with my ex-girlfriend, you know her, remember
Yeah.
the B word,
Yep.
B&M. So I lived there. And then yeah, like that's where right around that time I started getting into really bad drugs and eventually they kicked me out of that house. They all moved on and I went from a hotel room to just a lot of bouncing around. And eventually I grew out of like I was at drug houses doing crack and meth. And I just, I grew out of it. Luckily, I grew out of it
Mhm.
somehow. I never used treatment or anything to get off that. It just slowly turned into a fucking brutal missile,
Yeah. Well,
weaponized missile
it must
of
get
alcoholism.
tiring, to
Hmm?
maintain the party lifestyle for like that long, like year after year, and yeah,
Oh, year after year, everyone grows up and gets on with their lives.
yeah,
My shit turned into an alcohol addiction.
yeah.
And then of course there's bands I tried to start and do and relationships that I tried to have while being drunk and jobs. And I worked in construction for a long time and hated it. And I was so many things, I was trying to do and alcohol just interfered like crazy. And yeah, like, and then of course around 2015, that's when a girl I was with. We won't to say who she is, obviously out of respect, but we all I think you know who she was.
Yep.
So whatever. She was awesome. Shout out to her. Seriously, top shelf, fucking human, awesome. And when she left me, and she did it in the nicest fucking way possible. Okay. She was like, I can't. First off, while I was with her, she said, "Can't you just drink on the weekends? Can't you just drink this once a week? Can't you just drink once a month?" Like she tried to meet me halfway so many times. And this whole time, I have no idea what childhood trauma is. I have no idea what ADHD really is. And so she left. She broke up with me. She fired me. But it was the most simple breakup I've ever been through. We all know a lot of my ex-girlfriends and the fucking shrapnel that left. But this one left me and I tried. That was right around that time. That was when I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Right.
And that was when my recovery journey started. And I would get 6 months and slip. I'd get 10 months and slip, 8 months and slip, 4 months and slip. And then it wasn't till my more recent breakup about 4 plus 5 years ago where this individual was fucking ruthless. Okay. And yes, I have my own part in that. Again, this person left me because I was drinking, and they were like, I lost them, got them back, started drinking again. But here's my tip, people. When you break up with someone, whether you outgrow them or don't want to be with them, outside of cheating or some really bad shit, there's no reason to break a person when you break up with them. There's no reason. It's just move on. You don't need to damage someone that's already damaged because they hate themselves. Like me drinking in a relationship was because I hate myself. Those addicts on the street, they fucking hate who they are. So they're using to numb the pain of themselves. You know what I mean? Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like when you binge Netflix or you fucking get up in the middle of the night and eat sugar or cereal, when you fucking eat pizza too much, whatever it is that you do, if you do too much, like think about just stop doing that. See how hard it is to quit smoking or how hard it is to fucking stop drinking. Like the things that we do in life, try to stop doing your habits and you'll realize, fuck, it's hard. And
Oh yeah.
that's a macrocosm of what addiction's like, right? So we're punishing ourselves. But getting back to what I was saying, this individual broke up with me and they were fucking over the top, mean, cruel about it, in my opinion. It's my story. I can fucking tell it how I want. Was I messed up myself? I take full responsibility, and I do take full responsibility for everything that I did, and that's why I'm doing what I am doing now, trying to be a better person, recovering loudly for everyone to see so that I'm trying to be a better person. And that's how you get it's not it's an apology in a way. Taking responsibility for your life is the best apology for everything. But this person broke up with me, and that was the fucking nail in the coffin for me. When she was super really hard, like really, really quite cruel about it, it just activated this trauma response. And I think I lay it in the fetal position for like fuck 4 to 6 months, researching like how do I get my girlfriend back, or how do I fucking like any guy's gonna go on YouTube and be like, how do I get my girlfriend back? And you'll find a lot of information on that. Some
Yeah.
guys are gonna teach
You've
like
mentioned
a lot
before.
of it.
Yeah, yeah.
What's that?
Oh, you've mentioned that before. That yeah, you'll find all the ways to get the girl back, but you also find the other side of it. Like, what did you do? Well, yeah,
Yeah, and why did she
your
leave
side
you in
of
the
it.
first place?
Yeah, yeah,
Right. And so I got my girlfriend back. I got the first one back. I got the second one back. Right. I manipulated the situation and said all the right things and did all the right things and put on the show, and I got the chick back. But ultimately, it failed again. Why? Because I was unhealed. Like I didn't even know what was going on. So I
yeah,
finally went down. Yeah, I went down the road of self development. Okay, attachment spectrum. There's attachment spectrum. Check that out. Go look up Coach Corey. We'll go look up Coach Corey Wayne. He's great. Um, there's another guy, Coach Craig Kenneth. Like, I would just fall asleep listening to their videos. They talk about the spectrum of attachment. Like,
hmm
fuck, there's a bunch of them. Like anxious attachment. There's a few of them. I attach to girls like they're my mommy. I used to anyway. Like my mommy. No girl wants a dude that's another little kid. That's absolutely the worst thing for any chick. And that's what I was like. So they broke up with me. I got the signal like you're worthless, you're worthless, you're worthless. So I would have a massive trauma response and fucking fall apart. Took a lot of fucking work to figure this all out, just through the internet and articles and books and counseling. Um, and so when you learn about the attachment spectrum, when you learn about childhood trauma, Gabor Mate, Johan Hari, fucking go read the book, The Body Keeps the Score. I haven't read that one yet, but I heard the guy on the podcast is really good. Um, so yeah, like I said, you learn how do I get my girlfriend back? There's courses you can buy. It's fucking ridiculous. You learn that why do women leave you in the first place? So that was my story. Women constantly leaving me. So many girls that I've lost. And now I've been single for 5 years. And I'm very trepidatious about who I involve myself with.
yeah.
Um, and
Understandable.
so, so yeah, that last girl, I would thank this. I'm grateful for the situation. If I ever saw them again, would I be like, hey, thanks for being a total cruel bitch. That really flicked a switch, in me. And wow, my life just is amazing now. I'd be like, I'm grateful for what I learned.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be cruel to people, man. But here's the thing: hurt, broken people hurt, hurt broken people. And I notice we have 8 minutes left here, but that's actually pretty good timing. So essentially the last 5 6 years so the last 5 years since just before the pandemic, it's been an obsessive healing journey. Like a lot of time I've spent by myself, just healing and thinking and fucking up and experimenting with alcohol and not experimenting alcohol, experimenting with kratom and trying medication. And because I'm a stubborn motherfucker, right? Trying to and I just recently, like I said, we just released that one episode there talking about how I finally made peace with it and got sober the day before my birthday again. I didn't get wasted drunk and go on a big tear, but I finally made peace with the fact that's if we're gonna do this recovery podcast and I want to be a recovery coach, fucking recovery fitness influencer, that I can't have my cake too.
Yeah. And
So I made peace.
a quick update on that. How's that going?
Oh, I feel great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's 15, day 15. Thank you for
Yeah,
asking.
yeah,
And or 16. It's August 3rd. So either way, yeah, it's just proof from quitting and stopping from all those years. I've
yeah,
rebuilt the neural pathways. So it just when my brain knows, it's like, oh, he's done. Like we're not there's the cravings kind of subside pretty
yeah,
quick. Still, like places I go are a little bit triggering, but I don't get as triggered as much anymore at all. Because it's been a revolt, like stop, start, stop, start. I don't advise anyone to stop, start, but just stop. Like there's nothing good. Fucking, especially with street drugs, like cocaine, all of that. It's like a Russian roulette. If you're young and in your 20s, whatever, like I guess, like what could I say? Like, like try not to waste too much time. I understand it's fun. And you're never gonna rob a man from his rock bottom. End of story. But I I'm telling you, being a sloppy fucking drunk in your 30s, late 30s, and 40s, it's just not appealing, man. It's not appealing to anybody. Show up for your dad, show up for your kids, show up for yourself. Show up,
yeah,
participate in your own rescue, man. Like there's a great life out there without alcohol. Like it just takes practice. Oh, I can't go to the show. Yes, you can. It's called neuroplasticity. Once you start doing things repetitively and enough, you'll learn to disassociate alcohol and partying with activities. It's called practice. It's called discipline. You
yeah.
can do it. And I encourage anybody to do it. But if you're able to drink and do your thing, and then that's fucking great too. Like if you that's why we're recovering loudly here, and we're also, what does your recovery look like to you, right? Like if it works to have a few drinks, then and you can really sustain that, like Jaimen does. He shuts it off at a certain time and he keeps his shit going. He knows when to drink and when not to drink. Well, that's rare, but it's good. But for people like me, nah, man, I got trauma, I got ADHD, I got a dopamine deficiency. I can't do it. I made that decision, so that's it. So that's a we
All
got
right.
5 minutes
That's
left. So
good
anything you want to
discussion.
ask or add, bro?
No, I think that's a pretty good, like, I mean, you wanted to discuss the journey, like, the backstory, and I think you did a good job of that. I mean, it, I don't have much to add. It's your story, you know. It's interesting.
Yeah. Pardon
Um,
me?
well, it's interesting that I've been along for the rides indirectly, for this long.
Well,
So,
me and you
yeah.
had an out. Like I remember me and you used to hang out a lot, and you know what, man? I used to have the best laughs with you. So the thing with you is like just I remember those deep guttural fucking laughs that we would have, man.
Oh yeah, and it definitely got too much, because I don't touch the hard drugs, never have, and so that's not really, yeah, that's not my zone, and
Yeah, and I
I'll
turned
exclude
into a
myself.
douchey dude for a
So,
while. There was a time where a lot of my friends let me go, right?
oh, there
And that
was
was
that window where, pretty much the general consensus was like, yeah, had written you off for a few
yeah,
years. Definitely,
yeah, for sure.
you know.
And now I'm like this. Everyone's just like, whoa. I am a fucking an example of what's possible for change, and I'm not even done.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
haven't even hit my fitness targets yet. So it's possible, guys. You can do it, right? That's the thing. If you've lost everything, I'm telling you, you can fucking get it back if you just start making the right decisions and quickly here. Like how do you eat an elephant? while Jaimen says he'd start with a tail because Jaimen's smart as fuck. And then I would say one bite at a time, right? One domino knocks over, then the next domino knocks over. And then after a couple of years or a couple of months, you look back and you go, holy fuck, 15 days has already passed by, or a month or a year. I got my kid back. I got a job. And then just it's a matter of maintaining that. So we wish everyone the best. Progress, not perfection, right?
Yeah, and so we got a couple good guests lined up in the future as well. So next
Yeah,
few
it looks like
episodes.
yeah, we're gonna get Chris Hebert on. We'll
Hmm.
get Adam Lloyd, my coach, on from Fly Straight. Mike, I forget his last name, Shreds, the wrestler. Lots of people coming. So, and maybe they've already been on actually. So maybe this episode. Oh no, this is
No, no,
episode
no.
10.
We've got it all
Yeah,
lined up properly.
we're
Yeah,
on
yeah.
track here. So
We
yeah,
we do
guys.
pre-record, but I've got some organization here. Yeah,
Yeah, he keeps you on track, Jay, man. So
yeah.
yeah, guys, you know what I mean? Like, remember, grind the blade, catch the fire, keep the PMA, and slay the fucking day.
All right. We're out.